Howdy, howdy, happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing well. I chose this music because the theme of this song is called Comedy Show. And I kind of feel like it's been a comedy show in the land of real estate and everything else in this world. Today we're talking about Trump's new plan to fix the housing market. He's going to come in, he's going to swoop in with his cape. One can only hope. One can only hope. And but I want to, in all seriousness, dig into Trump's, plan. He signed his initiative, his price relief, emergency price relief document. Oh gosh, I can't even find my words. His presidential action that he signed on January 20th. That kind of outlines what he would like to do, like how to help the housing crisis in terms of affordability and bring down the home prices, and help the housing market in terms of the new construction, all the things. So I did a ton of research, so you don't have to, and pulled up a bunch of articles, and I'm gonna take a deep dive in, but I'm gonna bring on a friend of mine to help me out here because this is a big task, and her, you love her, Miss Jackie Baker. What's happening, my friend? What's happening, Baker?
Nothing. How are you?
How are things down the dirty Jers?
Yes, down the dirty Jers. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, not much. For those watching, those who do not know Jackie Baker, the Jackie Baker is down in North Jersey, New Jersey, down there, and with a poppin' market. So and I'm dialing in here live stream from Plymouth, Massachusetts. So we're both up in the Northeast, although it doesn't feel like the Northeast because Louisiana's getting more snow than we are. So
I know, like what the heck? What the heck?
It's raining cats and dogs.
Oh my God! Really?
If like
so cold here. God,
if we see like what's that guy? What's that? Gowser from the Ghostbusters in New York City. If we start hearing reports about that, I think we're in trouble.
It's time to pack it in.
I think it's time to pack it in. Let's speaking about packing in, digging in, unpacking. Let's get busy, Jackie, because
let's do it, my friend.
People aren't here to hear us babble about Ghostbuster movies and all the things. So we get bigger things hailing from the great state of New York. Mr. President Trump, who has signed this presidential action. So this is the actual, the briefing from the White House. So I figured I'd start here, and then we can kind of dissect as, kind of go from there. So what do you say, Jackie?
That sounds like a plan to me.
So I'm not gonna read this whole thing. I'm just gonna, give it a highlight because you don't need all the intro. Basically, this particular order that he signed, executive order, says Americans, we talked about, how high prices are and how unaffordable, how people are struggling, across the board, not just housing, but just with everything, right, Jackie? And so it says Americans are unable to purchase homes due to historically high home prices, in part due to regulatory requirements that alone account for 25% of the cost of constructing a new home, according to recent analysis. I dug into that. I got some data on that to the actual report that he is referring to. I've got that we're going to take a look at. In some unprecedented regulatory oppression from the Biden administration is estimated to have imposed almost $50,000 in cost. So that's where the $50,000 comes from, folks, on my thumbnail. That was not clickbait. That actually is applicable to our conversation. This is almost $50,000 in cost on the average American household, whereas my first term agenda reduced regulatory costs by almost $11,000 per household. I hereby order the heads of all executive departments and agencies to deliver emergency price relief consistent with applicable law to the American people and increase the prosperity of the American worker. I actually like the sound of that as far as the American worker is concerned. This shall include pursuing appropriate actions too, and we're going to dig into each of these, Jackie. Lower the cost of housing and expand housing supply. Eliminate unnecessary administrative expenses and rent-seeking practices that increase healthcare costs. We're not going to talk about that. I'm not sure how that fits into like a general home affordability in terms of household affordability, and we're not going to dig into that potential piece. But the rest of it, eliminate counterproductive requirements that raise the cost of home appliances. I thought that was interesting. That's very specific. That's very specific. Create unemployment opportunities for American workers, including drawing discouraged workers into the workforce. I like the sound of that. And eliminate harmful, coercive climate policies that increase the cost of fuel, food and fuel. So that's a lot, Jackie.
It is.
That's a lot, right? And so, I want to kind of go piece by piece on this and dig into it to kind of, what does this all mean? So actually I think I had saw this and then we had briefly talked about it. This is I thought it was a fantastic article. So I went through, I spent hours, to be honest, researching this, digging into it, trying to find the best content to talk about with, for you guys, so you can, to help you understand, what exactly does this all mean? What could this possibly mean? Is this realistic? Could this possibly happen? And this article, this breakdown by Realtor.com, Jackie, I thought was really good. So it's, Trump orders emergency price relief on housing. What does it mean? So I won't read the entire article. I'm just going to hit on the high points. It says, while the administrative orders offers few specifics, it does highlight the housing crisis at a time when home affordability is at a 40-year low. We know this. And nearly half of renter households are cost burdened, spending more than 30% of their income on rent. Crazy. It says hardworking families today overwhelmed by cost of fuel, food, housing, automobiles, et cetera, et cetera. The memo, which came alongside a slew of other presidential actions on the first term of Trump's new term, orders executive branch leaders to report back to the White House every 30 days on their progress in lowering consumer costs. But he made no reference to specific actions to be taken. I think the one thing that I just wanted to mention here, Jackie, is that, these executive orders are it's almost, they're basically a wish list, right? Like these things, he can't just with a stroke of a pen magically make everything happen. But he can put things into motion. But just so that the general public understands, just in terms of, expectations, managing expectations, these things don't just start today. These are things that he's initiating. He's basically stating what his to-do list is.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. That is like the perfect way to put it. These are the things he recognizes. He's putting it out there. I see this. This is an issue. We're gonna fix it. And I think people are looking for answers. We're only a week into this, and people want answers like yesterday. It's not going to happen that easily and that quickly. It's going to take time.
Absolutely. I mean, it took us decades, legitimately, to get into this pickle. It is not going to happen overnight.
No, it's not. And who knows if he's going to accomplish it in his term, to be honest with you, because it has been going on. This housing crisis, I've talked about the same topic on my live stream last night. This has been going on since the great financial crisis. Okay. There's been a shortage of homes since 2008, and no president has addressed it. And he didn't address it in his first term. Obama didn't, Biden didn't, nobody did.
Yep.
All they kept, they thought, hey, let's give tax incentives to first-time home buyers. We'll give you tax credit. that's not going to create homes. It's like, oh, this is great. You're giving them an incentive, a tax credit, but there's no homes to buy.
Right.
So that's the core of this affordability issue is the lack of housing.
Well,
So,
and I like the fact that it's on the front plate, right? Because to your point, whether and just to be clear, like, it doesn't matter, just for for those watching, it doesn't matter if you voted blue, it doesn't matter if you voted red. Nobody should care. And for certain, we don't
Right.
care on this live stream, nor do we want to even
No.
talk about that. But the reality of it is what we're looking at is, okay, so now what? Now what? Regardless of who you
Right.
voted for, about what not. Okay, now what's going to happen? Let's get to work. Let's roll up our sleeves and get stuff going, because I think that you could go on a laundry list of things that were more pressing maybe at the time, but this is absolutely like at the forefront, because we're in this pickle of
Yes.
these prices, which have been exasperated over the last from COVID. I think it's like. This sucker's pushed to the front of the pack.
Yes. Yes. As it should be, and as it should be. It's such a
100%.
serious problem.
Hey, Leah, thanks for jumping on. Tariffs on Canadian lumber will push prices up. Yeah, we're gonna that will likely come up in this conversation for sure. I think there's going to be some pain before we see relief, and it's going to be probably a little bit of time. Dave says, unfortunately, I think the only fix to the affordability crisis is going to be time. You know what?
I agree.
Yep.
It is going to take time. Yep.
100%. Hey, Hugh, good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, Clark's in the
Hey.
house. Excellent.
Clark, how are you, Clark?
Hello. So getting back to this, it says that this order is light on details, okay, as we were just talking about, on how to address the housing affordability crisis. But we find it encouraging that housing is remaining toward the top of the agenda, exactly what we were just talking about, and that executive branch leaders will be reporting on their progress toward housing affordability goals. Okay, let's get down to the brass tacks, right? The first thing is he's he talked a lot on the campaign trail, and now he's putting his pen to paper, Trump's bid to slash construction regulations. I think this is probably probably the one thing that could potentially put a dent in our issue, right? In our housing affordability issue. It says the memo's reference to a recent analysis of the regulatory cost involved in home building appears to refer to a study conducted by the National Association of Home Builders in 2021. I actually pulled up that study. The National Association Home Builders survey of developers and builders found that regulation imposed during development accounts for 10.4%. Honestly, Jackie, I didn't realize, when I was reading this, I said, I didn't realize the number was that high. Accounting for 10.4% of the price of a home built for sale, while regulations on the construction phase accounted for 13.2% of the price. In total, the study found that the cost of regulations imposed by all levels of government typically cost $93,870, accounting for 23.8% of the average sales price of a new single family home at the time, which was $397,300. The NAHB praises Trump new administrative orders, saying that it looked forward to working with the new administration to boost housing production and affordability. The vast majority of home construction permits and regulations are issued at the state and local level. This is where I think it's going to get really sticky, Jackie. It says it's the vast majority of the permits are issued by the state and local level, and it is unclear what steps the federal government could take to streamline them. I think that's where they're going to have a bottleneck. Reducing regulatory red tape for this is the Berner is the Realtor.com senior economist. He says reducing regulatory red tape for construction is a noble goal, but not one that federal lawmakers have much control over outside of incentivizing state and local governments to roll back their policies and restrictions.
Right.
This is where it's going to get sticky, Jackie, because
I agree.
Yep. you have, I know that the administration wants to put a lot of the burden on a lot of expenses on the state's plate, right? He wants to push things back to the state. But if the state's not playing, if the state doesn't sign on, Massachusetts is a bear to build in. It's awful.
Jersey's the same.
Awful.
Jersey's the same. It's
I mean,
easy.
It's, builders. I mean, just from experience being in Plymouth, our town, it's 102 square miles, but there's a lot of historic areas, and it's the builders. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a ton of opportunity to build, but the builders cringe, and it's expensive because of all the red tape. And, the reality of it is, it's like, okay, there's going to be pushback. And I don't know how that works. I think incentivizing them will help, which is something I've been talking about, I feel like, forever. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be tough.
It is. I said this last night on my stream that, well, I think it's all well and good that he's proposing this and cutting the red tape and regulations. It goes down to your state and local governments. Like you just said, how that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. How is he going to force? You're not going to be able to force these towns and states to do to do what he wants. It's going to be extremely challenging because every state is unique. Every town is unique. Like you said, Plymouth, you have a lot of historic homes, historic areas. Same thing in Jersey. I mean, we got houses that date back to the Revolutionary War. I mean, there's a lot of history here too. So, and it makes it very challenging to do renovations, building, and all the things. So, as much as I like he's saying this, we got to cut the red tape and everything. It's like, okay, that's great, but let's be real. It's not up to him.
No,
it's not up to him. It comes down to the state and local governments. So,
and I think this is like, again, getting back to what I was saying in the beginning, it's like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter which aisle you're on, what side you voted, whatever. Everybody wants more affordable housing. Everybody wants to reduce the cost of a home, reduce the cost of living, reduce the the interest rates. Everyone wants that. Not one single person wants to pay more. You either you want it or you don't care about it. Because you make so much money and you're filthy rich and whatever. But we all are collectively, this is an issue that appeals to everyone, and it's an issue that collectively, if we don't get the states on board, because the only way, and I know, we've talked about this in terms of like yes, it's a very complicated situation. It's a very complicated situation in terms of, the value of a home. And a lot of folks that, will blame this person, that person, and, try to get the sellers to take less and all the things, or the real estate agents are driving up the cost or whatever. The reality of it is, as much as we would like to point fingers, the reality of it is value or the price a property sells at, which in turn is the value of that property. It is determined, in the simplest terms, it is determined by what a buyer's willing to pay and what a seller's willing to sell. Period. That is, the real estate agent doesn't have anything to do with it. The government doesn't have anything to do with it. It is not control. It's all in what the buyer's willing to pay. If a buyer comes to the table and says, I'm willing to pay, nobody's forcing me. It's a free country. Nobody's saying you have to pay $100,000 more for this house. I'm putting a gun to your head. I'm putting a gun to your head and I'm putting this. No. People came and yes, a lot of them did it. And I think that a good chunk of them wish they didn't. And it was FOMO, fear of missing out and all the things. Whatever the reason, it's a free country. They did it voluntarily. And as a result, now that's the new threshold. And everyone else in that neighborhood is like, well, they got 600. Well, then I'm going to charge 600. And guess what? The buyers that didn't buy that house at 600, now they're like, I guess that's what we got to pony up to, or we move on to another neighborhood. And the ones that are willing to pony up are like, okay, we're going to buy that one at 600. We're going to offer 625 because 10 people want to. And that's how it goes. And there's how do you stop that cycle? The only way, Jackie, is to introduce more inventory. It is plain and simple. And I've said this before, back in the 80s. You remember the Cabbage Patch Dolls?
Yep.
You remember the Cabbage Patch Dolls? The
Yes,
Cabbage
I
Patch
do.
Dolls, right? These are stupid dolls.
I know.
Stupid dolls that people were
People
paying
were fighting over them.
thousands, freaking thousands of dollars for these dolls.
Yep.
Why? Because there wasn't enough.
Yep.
Because there wasn't enough. The supply was short, and the people wanted it. The people, they determined what the value was of that stupid doll, and the price went up, and people continued to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And the only the only reason the price went down is because they came out with massive amount of inventory. And you could say that about Beanie Babies. The exact same thing happened to Beanie Babies. Now you can get Beanie Babies at every corner store, whatever. If they even, I don't even know. Do they sell them still? I don't know. But,
yeah, they do.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's like no big deal. But back when there was a rush, it was a big deal. So this is no different. This is a commodity in a capitalist society. We need more product to satisfy the demand, and only then will we see things kind of taper down, not plummet.
1,000,000%.
Unless the builders all of a sudden roll out with 4 million homes tomorrow, then we will see. That's when we will see home prices plummet, Jackie.
I know.
But that ain't
You're
happening.
absolutely right. No, it's not. But listen, again, it's going to take years. It's going to take years for that supply to catch up. As far as new inventory, it's going to take a long time. And look, I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick of living through this. We've been through this for almost 5 years now, and the reality is we got to deal with it for another, whatever it be, another year or two before we start seeing some relief. That's just
100%. Hugh says, oh gosh, this is the first time in my life I'm doing a renovation that requires building permits. A pain in the beep.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if he's in Jersey. Yeah, Jersey.
Oh,
Jersey's awful with that, with their permits. Terrible.
Yeah, you got to get. I mean, in Massachusetts, you got to get a permit for flipping everything. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Same thing. It's
Dave, what do you
annoying.
got to say? Dave says, if the government could speed up try again, Jen. If the government could speed up and streamline the permit process, that could help. 100%, 110%. They could speed up anything. I have a client that who has a family cottage that wants to sell the family cottage, and after a long time, and parents, one parent passing, another one's sick, and so on and so forth, the siblings get together. Okay, we collectively decide to do this, and then they find out. The dad's not doing well, and they find out that the cottage was not put in the trust, so now has to go through the probate process. 6 months. Why, Jackie? Why? Why? Now you have to draw this out. The family comes to this very difficult decision. This is totally unrelated to the topic, so we'll get back on track, guys. Not to worry. But you go through this very difficult decision to say, okay, we're finally ready. And now you have to put the brakes on for 6 months. Thank you. Just bureaucracy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I will say the probate process in Jersey isn't that long. At least the probate process is a lot quicker than that. I'll give Jersey that.
A little bit. Check one for Jersey.
A little bit.
Maddie says someone is benefiting from the high regulatory costs. Yeah, we know who's benefiting. It's not us. It's not. It's somebody's with deep pockets. The local and state bureaucracies that set the fees. Yep. And maybe there'll be some house cleaning. Hopefully, I don't know. Jackie, you know me. I am very cautiously optimistic.
That's why we get along, because we're the same. We have the same brain when it comes to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sisters from another mother.
Absolutely. But the bureaucracies it's really the local governments where there's a lot of corruption in a lot of local governments,
You don't say.
Somebody's paying somebody off and
really?
Yeah. So,
you're in Jersey, so you got the Sopranos down there and all the things.
New York, even when I grew up in New York, all that crap went on. I mean, please, my father had stories, because he was in the industry, so he knew what was going on. It was not fun.
Peter says, great show, but what's the housing crisis? Well, stick around. We're gonna talk about it.
There are no houses. That's the crisis.
He says inventory is not going to increase until years have passed, and people with those very low mortgage rates are the minority of homeowners. Well, Peter, it's already happening. It's actually already happening. So when the rates went up, when did the rates go up? Early 2023, right? July of 23.
Well, really late 22 is when they started to go up. That's I don't know, fall 2022. That's
my brain is like fog central here.
It's okay. That's what you have me for.
Thank God. But the reality of it is a lot of those people are moving out of necessity. So the number, and I don't have the stats for that, but the number, I did do some research on that not too long ago, and the number of outstanding mortgages with interest rates less than, say, 4%, have been drastically reduced. Drastically reduced, and it will, and 100%. It's gonna take. This is not something that's gonna even happen. Honestly, I don't think it'll happen in 4 years.
Right.
Hughes says my county asked for a revision of the building plan, and they charge every revision. Isn't that convenient?
Oh my God!
Isn't that convenient?
Ridiculous! Holy cow!
Yeah, it's yeah.
No. I hate to know what he pays in taxes. I mean that's unacceptable.
Yeah,
quite honestly, you know.
It's just I don't quite. It's. And that's the thing is that's it's again, regardless of this is the new administration, whether you're for them, you're against them, whatever, not, it is what it is. Again, I try to be cautiously optimistic and say, okay, well, they're here. Let's hope let's hope for the best, and let's just hope that whoever's in office, at least we're on the radar to shine a light on this stuff, because
Absolutely.
These are the types of things. So, all right, let's get back into the next section.
All right, let's do that.
So the other piece that he talked about, and he talked a lot about this on the campaign trail, Jackie, was that Trump may seek to open federal land for housing. It says on the campaign trail, Trump repeatedly raised the issue high housing costs and vowed to take action to boost the housing supply. Although his new memo does not make specific reference to it, one plan he has repeatedly mentioned involves opening up portions of federal land for large-scale housing construction. Economists generally support the idea as one way to boost new home construction in certain areas. Berner says opening federal lands for residential construction is a much more direct measure that provided that environmental concerns, and I want to talk about that, are taken into account, and that coordination with local levels of government ensures speedy delivery of homes. However, and there is a big old asterisk on this, Jackie. However, one limitation of the plan is that in many cases, there is no significant federal land located near the places where people want to work and live. Nationwide, the federal government owns 27% of the total land area, but much of that land is located in the western U.S. In other regions of the country, there may be little federal land to set aside for housing construction. You know what would be really great, Jackie, right now, is to have a map of that federal land. I'm gonna wave.
Tell me you got it.
Poof.
I knew you were.
Oh wait, I didn't say. Hold on. You disappeared.
Did you cut me off?
Oh shoot! Hold on.
You cut me off.
I need a. Oh. There we go. Sorry about that. A little technical.
Sure, it's okay. Just kick me off. It's all right.
Sorry.
Okay.
So
I knew you, I'm not surprised. Of course you would. Of course you would.
Of course, I messed up on the editing here, so I apologize. Anyways, you guys will get the picture. So, because I had to download this thing, I couldn't find one that was actually interactive on the web, the good old interwebs. But and so I can't zoom in on this. So bear with me. I was trying to find the best map I could possibly find. But this map, this is it. And if you can read it down in the corner, it tells you, it shows exactly, the different areas of what the different areas are, in terms of, the areas. Yeah, this is, I should have thought about this. I can't see my cursor. So anyways, this is a live show, guys.
Anything can happen.
I wish I did this a little differently. Anyways, the thing that I have issue with is like the yellow area, right? So you've got areas that are protected areas, and you have national parks. The yellow is areas that they use for oil, gas, solar farms, crop, cattle,
Yep.
What there isn't any land that is like unused, right? That is just like sitting there for the sake of just sitting there, right?
Yep.
So I don't know how that works. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know do you have any thoughts on this? I'm curious to know, because we didn't talk about this prior to.
So no, we did not.
Because if you, and this is why the Realtor.com article said that if they're going to use some of this federal land, that they would take into consideration the local area, like Nevada, Utah. Those areas have the most amount, and all of it is a lot of it is all open land. They have cattle. This is what feeding. This is for feeding the country. That's all land that's actually being used. So how do they have to work with the local officials to determine what's going to have the least amount of impact. You don't want to just build houses to satisfy the need for today, but put the next generation even more in a situation. And oh, great, we have housing, but now we have to go back to relying on other countries for oil, or we have to rely on other areas to import beef. Because we can't, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, all the things. So, what are your thoughts?
I think. Listen, I understand where you're coming from, and I think, it's coming up with a plan. Like, what do we do? If it is a farmland, you're right. Then you got to work with those local officials. Do they shift it? Do they have to relocate them to somewhere else? Designate another area of federal land to be just strictly for raising livestock and, farmland and what have you. I was trying to research, there was a town in Texas, I think it's Prosper, Texas, back years ago. It was a very tiny town, but really small population. And all of a sudden they decided, hey, there's land here, let's build on it. They started building homes. Then they started building office buildings, stores, strip malls, shopping malls, and now it's huge. This town blew up, and people are flocking there. So I'm thinking if he was to open up some of this federal land, something like that could happen. You're creating a whole other hub that and there could be tax incentives for corporations. Hey, you want to set up shop here? We'll give you a little tax incentive. Let's get let's get a new town going here. I can't say 100%. I'm like 80% sure it was Prosper, Texas, where that town just blew up, and it's continuing to grow to this day. So that's my hope, where if he's going to take some of this federal land, we could see more towns like that get built, and people could and it'd be a more affordable place to live.
It's not. So. Yeah, I'm having. I'm trying to zoom in here as best I can to try to show you guys, because actually I was able to do a little background stuff. So but in Texas, you've got Department of Defense. There's very little. That's what I'm saying. There's very little.
I'm surprised.
Department of Defense. This light green, I think, is Forest Service.
Okay.
There's and you can kind of see. Let's see if we can do this here. I was hoping to. Nope, it's not working. Sorry. Trying, guys. Trying. It's off the screen, but it's, you look at Oklahoma, that's a Bureau of Indian Affairs. Yeah. I mean, I get it. All this green is all Forest Service. That's all Forest Service.
But look at that in North Carolina. That's probably where they would have to do it. It would have to be where the forest is, I mean, nobody likes to see the trees be taken down and losing forests, but we do what we got to do, I guess, to make this happen, because people are not giving up their homes with these interest rates.
Well, and it what it comes down to is we have a growing population. That's the name of the game. The only reason why we're in this pickle is because we have too many people. We have too many people. This country is just, we're even though our national age, I haven't researched this, so this is something I heard the other day, that the national age in the U.S. is actually dropping. The life expectancy is dropping, and we're not there, and we're no longer the highest life expectancy in the world. Like we're actually dropping, which is interesting. Too many fast food restaurants, probably. But anyways, I'm guilty. I'm not placing any judgment, because
same here.
I like every once in a while. I'm just saying, like a little Wendy's biggie bag for $5 is a good deal and satisfies the cravings. But whatever.
Okay.
Definitely don't do it all the time. But the reality of it is people are living longer, and they have more babies. Right? Even though the average family size has shrunk, they're still having babies, and everybody's living longer, and the baby boomers aren't giving up the homes because they're living longer. So we just have too many people.
That's all.
We just have too many people. So I don't know how this I don't So anyways, David says we are seeing builders in our market shift to building more townhomes, row homes, to make housing a little bit more affordable. I think we might see a shift back to that. That was a big boom in the 80s. Guess why? Because we had a housing crisis. We had a housing affordability crisis. The interest rates went up to 18%, and it was bonkers. And a lot of condos popped up on the market, and I don't think that would be the worst thing, Jackie. I think that
no, I don't think so either. People need a starter home. Somebody asked me on my live stream last night, their first time buyer with they had a toddler, young couple. Do we buy a single family home, or do we buy a townhome? And I broke it down like, okay, well, this is what you're going to get. But if you're not used to maintaining a yard, maintaining the exterior of your home, townhomes are a great option, and they're cheaper. Unless you live in Jersey, where you're going to be paying about the same for a townhouse as you would a single family home, or in some cases more. But for the most part, townhomes are definitely an affordable option. So
that was my first place. I mean, it was great for all the reasons you just said. For all the reasons you just said, my husband and I, we had we come from an apartment, small apartment, right? And so we didn't have, were we capable? Yes, but did we have any experience with, taking care of things and all? I mean, he had a background in construction, so we were capable. But I mean, the fact of the matter is like going from an apartment, 300 square foot apartment, to a house, and then you start introducing, we're going to start, maybe, work on our, have babies, increase our family, add to our family, all the things, have babies or adopt or whatever you're going to do. And that's a lot. That's a lot, and especially as, I know the typical first time home buyer age is now 38 at this point, 37, 38. But, back when it was when it was more in the 20s, and I would like to see it be more in the late 20s, get it down. I think the only reason why it's that age is because people can't afford it, because kids can't afford it. But the reality of it is they're just starting out. They're just starting out with their careers and all the things. It's a nice little entry. If I didn't get my foot in the door with that townhouse, I wouldn't have had the down payment to make on a house.
Yep.
And then we chipped away. We got a house that needed work, and we just chipped away. And I think that there's value. I think that a first-time home buyer, whether you're young, whether you're middle-aged, whether you've been a lifelong renter and you just want to, you're like, you know what, I'm done renting. I just want to buy a house.
Yep.
I want to buy a home. If we were, let's change the narrative, Jackie. Let's change the narrative.
Yep.
You're not buying a house, you're buying a home. A home can be anything. Condo,
That's right.
modular home, mobile home, single family, attached single family, two family. It can be anything. And, it doesn't have to be the white picket fence and the 3 bedrooms and the 1.5 baths and the dog running around the backyard and all the things, just to get your foot in the door, because it will, you will build equity.
Yes.
You will
that's the
build
part.
equity.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest shame right now with that. But yeah, no, I think I'm seeing that too, David. We do have, we don't have as much construction as, say, Florida or the southern states, Texas, but we do have some. We absolutely have some construction. We have one of the largest mixed use communities in the country is right here in Plymouth. The Pine Hills won national awards and all the things. And they started with single families, and then they went on to, like luxury condos. And now they're doing, regular, traditional condos and attached single families.
Yep.
With tiny little yards.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And yes, is it less expensive? The builder can make more money. Yes. However, it is also satisfying the need, because people are buying it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep. And I would like to see more incentives to builders to build affordable homes, build the townhomes.
Well, and I think that's where, getting back to this discussion, that's where the federal government can step in. Because the one thing, and I'm going to get to that in a second with this article, continuing on, but the one thing they did not mention was any kind of incentives. And maybe that'll come later. You know what I mean? But there's no incentives to the buyers. There's no incentives to the builders. There's no, I get the fact that they're trying to cut money, and all the things, but people respond to money, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hello.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know.
That's why we have Donald J. Trump in office, is because people voted with their wallets.
That's right. Yeah.
People, it's hard when you don't have, when your budget is tight and you can't afford groceries or whatever, nothing
That's right.
like that is the absolute thing that you think of. That's the most important thing on your table right now.
Right.
Maddie says, in Western states, there are many former air bases, Coast Guard land, et cetera, close to cities.
So she's
saying,
taking those air bases. So, a little fun fact that here in Jersey, in Monmouth County, down near the Jersey Shore, there's an old Air Force base that Netflix is taking over.
I heard that.
They're building a studio there, and it's supposed to bring 1,500 new jobs to New Jersey.
1,500.
1,500 new jobs.
Where are all those people going to live?
Yeah. So thank you. And the speculation is the prices are just going to go even higher in this.
So here's a brilliant idea. Maybe I should write a memo to the White House. When a company comes in that wants to build those things, fantastic. It adds to the tax base, right? It creates jobs. Great. One of the things that happened in Plymouth back in the early days, I'm talking 1900, we had a rope making factory. So we're right on the coast, and it was, we had it was a port city, so a port town. So they had a rope making factory right on the water, and they would bring in workers, and they would build housing for the workers, townhome housing. And we have Cordage Terrace, Cordage Park. The name of it was the Cordage Company, the Cordage Rope Making Factory. And now they have, we have streets of all these, two families, essentially. Bring that back. Yeah. If you're going to introduce 1,500 jobs, this corporation, let's get these corporations that have big, deep pockets, right? Mm-hmm. They get big, deep pockets. They're making lots of money. Great. Yeah. You're going to do that? Now you need to also part of the deal, just like an infrastructure agreement, right? You say, okay, you're going to build that. You are going to agree to maintain the roads. You're going to, resurface. You're going to take care of this. You're going to take care of that. Oh, the Pine Hills had to put their own water treatment plant in. They had to do all these things. How about you create 500 homes that people will buy them, but create them. Affordable housing.
Excellent idea. Excellent idea.
I think they should do that with like BlackRock and whatnot as well. I think there should be stipulations on corporate buyouts of investor housing. I think there should 110% some federal regulating on that, so that, okay, great, you're going to do that. Now you're going to resell it, and it has to be under an affordability, a 40B, or it has to be affordable housing or something along those natures. You're going to take one out for rent. Great. You've got to introduce something else in, or something along those lines.
That's another great idea. That's another
Telling
thing I hope they do.
Nobody's calling me.
I
Jackie.
know. You know what? What are you doing here? You should be down in Washington. What the hell?
All those other Looney Tunes. I got enough Looney Tunes in my life. Amen, sister.
All right. Okay, because that's what we do. We solve the world's problems.
Yeah, Nicole is in the house.
Wow.
Yeehaw! Good to see you. Good to see you. Red says, I hope they don't build in fire country. Well, isn't that coincidental that a lot of that open area is really close to, but it doesn't get that far. So our friend Joe Pareca, who I had a live stream a couple weeks ago, so he lives east of LA, and he's right on the border of California, like right near the border of California, Nevada, right near the desert area, the area that they've got, designated as forest or whatever. And and he's fine, so it doesn't really affect him that way, that particular area, but it certainly could, the way things are happening these days. Clark says we've been seeing builders down here build more townhomes in the inner city of Atlanta. This allows them to build more units too on the acreage.
Okay, good. That's a good sign.
Peter's from Long Island. A funny thing here on Long Island, these townhomes are more expensive than a single family home. Really?
Yeah.
Is it because they're luxury?
Yeah, we had them here in Jersey. I think I said this to you once, 3 years ago, going on 4. I helped clients buy a house in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. It's about 45 minutes from me. Jen, they paid almost $1 million, Toll Brothers townhome.
We have Toll Brothers up here. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was beautiful.
I was going to say that the price tag probably would have been $1.5 million if it was a single family, though.
Yeah, true. That is true. But
do you know what I'm saying?
It's like $1 million. So, but the whole concept was it was a beautiful community park, a beautiful park across the street, and they had a shuttle bus that would take the residents to the local train station that went into New York City. So it was an amazing community. But I forget what their HOA fees were, but it was, by the time they were done with all their finishes, the upgrades, it was just about $1 million. I'm like, oh my God. And the taxes, I won't even touch the taxes. That was a whole other.
We won't. I mean, you know what though? I mean, let's be honest. If you're spending that kind of money, I don't think they're worried about taxes. Honestly.
And it was a young millennial couple too. I'm like, oh my God, what do you do?
Really?
Yes.
Well, maybe they're making good money. Good for them.
They were. Clearly they were. They both had very good jobs, but oh my God. Yeah.
Clark says that is what people have to understand. You have to start somewhere. Oh yes, about the townhomes. He says we have Toll Brothers down here too, charging $1.1 million for townhomes.
Oh my God.
And this is the thing. That's the thing that is the big question mark. That is my concern, right? Is that they have to be very specific. It's like not all new construction is created equal. Not all new construction is created equal. I know that here, in certain areas, the building permits will be approved with the stipulation that X number of those building permits have to be affordable housing. And we're not talking like low income housing. We're talking about just homes that are built based on the median income, not high end, median income. So they have like out of a, development at 20, maybe, 3 or 4 or 5 or, and it's going to fit. It all fits. Not like you have all these gargantuan homes and then tiny homes. It's like, no, it all fits. It's just, they're maybe they're more modest, but they're in the price range that the average home buyer can afford. And I think that needs to be more enforced.
We do. We have it's called the Mount Laurel Act. This goes back to, I think, the 1970s. And what New Jersey, so here in New Jersey, every town has to allocate a certain percentage of homes to be affordable homes. And
is that in every community?
Every town has to have a allotted number of affordable homes. But the problem we're seeing now is there's lawsuits popping up around the state because the state is now mandating even more. So like my town, we have like a lot of parks here, state land that you can't build on and stuff. So, but I forget the amount of homes that they want. I think they wanted like another 700 homes or something like that, affordable homes. But there's nowhere to put them because, again, we have protected land, we have parkland here. So where the heck do you expect us to put them? So, and other towns are facing that same issue, and now there's lawsuits popping up. I mean, look, I understand. Yeah, we absolutely need them.
Yep.
And they achieved that back in the 90s. They built a whole condominium community, which was a large portion of it were targeted for there were affordable homes for the Mount Laurel Act. And now they're saying, well, we need more. It's like, where the hell do you expect us to put them? There's no place to go.
Your backyard, Jackie. Room. Right in your backyard.
Yeah, my backyard. Absolutely. We'll put ADUs in our backyards, It's crazy.
Hugs and kisses, says Ola. Checking in from sunny San Diego. How's the weather out in San Diego right now? I bet you it's probably nice and warm.
I bet they're nice and warm. Yeah.
Hugs and kisses, they forced that down California's throats. We can't grow more land. That is true.
You're right. It's so true. Look, again, that's another challenge. Like I was saying, you want to be able to have affordable homes, but when you're in a state like us, like in New Jersey, where the heck do you expect us to put them? It's really hard. So, yeah. But anyway,
110%. Jackie, I wanted to, the executive order didn't talk about interest rates, but Trump certainly did. Right on his campaign trail, he certainly brought up the subject that he's going to bring rates down and put pressure on the Fed and all the things. And what I thought I'd do is I actually found a great article from Bankrate that kind of just goes over the fundamentals, just from an educational perspective for those watching, like how that actually works, because a lot of folks might be waiting for magic to happen, for the new cabinet to take position, to take foothold and start, and for the president to start signing executive orders, forcibly pushing those rates down or making some changes to make things more affordable. And the reality of the matter is he has some influence over. He can't order, but he has some influence over the Fed in terms of nudging them, but that is not enough to control the mortgage interest rate. So I wanted to kind of just dig into that, Jackie, because I know we get that question all the time, and we see that pop up, right? Because everybody's like, this is what's going to happen, and he certainly was very enthusiastic about exercising that, and I think he would like to, of course, but it's not that easy.
No, it's not. No, it is not.
It's not that easy. So, again, I went through probably a dozen articles to try to get, and this was back in April, but it doesn't matter, when it was, because I just thought it was kind of, plain English, how does this work? Is this how are mortgage rates determined? And, going through that process, it says that, oh gosh, I had this all highlighted and I lost all my highlights. I had a computer issue right before I went on the live stream. So bear with me, guys. it kind of goes into, says, may seem like mortgage interest rates is dictated by the lenders, but actually mortgage rates are not directly set by one entity, but rather arise from the interplay of complex economic factors. And there's a lot of things that affect the mortgage interest rates, right, Jackie? I mean, it's not just the Fed. It's not just the 10-year Treasury bonds. It's not just, any one thing. So this article kind of goes into, I didn't lose it. I'm only losing my mind.
That's
Jackie.
Okay. So
mortgage factors impacting mortgage interest rates. So first off, the economy. This is a big one, right? This is a big one. So it says that mortgage rates tend to increase when the national economy is robust and job growth is high. This is partly a result of where investors decide to put their money. If they find more attractive returns elsewhere, the bond market will need to increase interest rates to compete, which results in costlier rates for borrowers. Conversely, during economic downturns, mortgage rates tend to decline as money flows from more risky investments to more stable investments like mortgages. So when the economy tanked during COVID because people had to close their doors, people weren't able to offer products to sell. People weren't, which means people weren't buying, right? They wanted to buy the sofa, but it was going to take a year for them to get it, right?
I know.
Like
Remember
the
that?
economy tanked. And because of that, that was one of the factors that put downward pressure on the economy. And the reality of it is inflation has come down. That ultimately caused inflation to rise, right? Which is the second factor is rising inflation limits consumers' purchasing power, and that's a consideration lenders make when setting mortgage rates. Lenders must adjust mortgage rates to a level that make up eroded purchasing power when inflation rises too quickly. So, okay, COVID. Everything in the world shut down, right? Remember, it seems like it was a million years ago. A lot has happened, but it affected absolutely everything, including toilet paper, right? So you have like the computer chips that went in cars. Just take that for example. And then cars became, they weren't coming off the assembly line. Same thing happened to the cars as they had to housing, as they had to Cabbage Patch Kids. Fewer cars because they weren't available, prices went up. Everything became more expensive because of COVID. Oh, as you went through COVID, of course, the government was injecting a crap ton of money, right, into the economy. They're printing money like they should have been printing toilet paper, but they were printing money instead.
That's right.
I bet a lot of people would have been like, you know what? Don't send me a check. Just send me a 24-pack of toilet paper. But that was one of the things. And now we're on the other side of it, Jackie. And inflation has actually gone down, okay, over the last several years. Whether you agree with the Biden administration or you don't, all the things, the reality of it is things have come down. And that's one of the reasons why when the Fed raised the rate, or lowered the rate rather, when the Fed lowered the federal rate, the mortgage rates didn't go anywhere. Right. It's because they were reacting to the dropping inflation.
Exactly.
Do you concur?
I concur.
So this is actually the timeline from 2019 to 2024. And you can see where it peaked, and it has come down. Over the last couple of years, it has come down. It says the annual U.S. inflation rate in December 2024 was 2.9%. And it was a lot higher. I forget what it was, upwards towards 5%. I have to look at the numbers. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. Jen, open your eyes, Jen. People watching this are like, Jen, it's right here. Oh, almost 9%.
It was that high?
That's what this says.
Oh, okay.
There's the number right there.
How bad am I? Talk about losing my mind. Yeah. How did I not remember that? My God.
Let me see if I can. There we go. Does that help you a little bit?
Yep. There you go.
So it says, it goes on to say, okay, so we know about the economy. We know about inflation, right? Now then you throw in just, let's like throw more ingredients into the sauce. One of those ingredients is the Federal Reserve. It says the Federal Reserve doesn't set mortgage rates.
Right.
And this is the thing, even if the Trump administration, even if Trump had some influence on the Federal Reserve, it wouldn't matter. It says
matter. You're right.
Nope. It says
no impact on mortgage. Yep.
Nope. It says, but its monetary policy decisions definitely influence them. The Fed can raise or lower. I would say it doesn't matter, but the impact is minimal. Minimal, right? There is some impact, but it's minimal. It says the Fed can raise or lower short-term interest rates, which indirectly affects mortgage rates. When the Fed raises the rate, it becomes more expensive for banks and lenders to borrow money. This translates to increased rates for borrowers. When the Fed lowers the rates, it becomes cheaper to borrow money, resulting in lower mortgage rates. So you have that's another component, and then the other component is financial markets. And this is where I know you talk about this, ad nauseum as well, and the 10-year Treasury. It says the performance, and this is key. Like if you're at home wondering about the rates and wondering, wanted to watch exactly where things are going, watch the 10-year Treasury yield, and that'll give you an idea of what's going on with the rates. It says the performance of T-bonds and mortgage rate backed. I'm not going to go too much in the weeds with this, guys, because I am not a mortgage broker, and I'm not a financial guru.
Neither am I. Yep.
Jack, he's not either. So, but just from a surface, perspective, this is good information to know. It says the performance of T-bonds and mortgage-backed securities play a role in your mortgage interest rates because mortgages are packed together into securities and sold as mortgage bonds. It's the return investors demand to buy these bonds that dictate the general level of mortgage rates. They go on to say mortgage rate levels are priced above that of the 10-year Treasury. The spread, the difference between the mortgage rate and the Treasury, 10-year Treasury, the spread between them reflects the risk investors bearing for holding those bonds. It may seem counterintuitive that 30-year mortgage rates are priced relative to yields on 10-year Treasuries, but when these 30-year mortgage rates are packaged together with bonds, and on average, they tend to pay out over a 10-year period as homeowners refinance, move, and otherwise pay off their loans. Now, because this is tied to an investor activity, when you see the stock market doing very well, typically that's where you're going to see some movement. Right, Jackie? That's where you're definitely going to see some movement in the mortgage interest rates.
Yep.
So it's just, it's and then it goes on to say, government policies and global events and all the things. But I just wanted to highlight that because, I think it's important to know. And actually I did, while we're chatting here, I'm going to see if I can look it up here. There was an article that I thought I came across, and I might have not included it, but it just based on the on one of his new cabinet members. He said that he could influence the Fed to a certain degree in terms of the policy, but
yeah, but yeah.
The
But
thing
it's
is,
not going to influence it that much because, like we just read there, the mortgage rates are influenced by the 10-year Treasury, right?
right.
So my lender, as you're reading this, I'm just recalling my guy Bob. I've used him for the past like 7 years. He's my mortgage guy, and every now and then I check in with him, like, how are the rates? He goes, well, they kind of suck now because the job numbers came out. And the economy's looking good, so mortgage rates are staying up. That's what he has said. He goes, when things are going south, that's when the rates, that's when the rates will come down.
And that is
good. It's not.
I think that is probably the best. And simply, this was a little bit in the weeds, a little bit, technical. But the reality of it is. You're absolutely, that in simplest terms, It's like if you can't have your cake and eat it too, you can't have things going well with a good job market, and low inflation and low interest rates.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
That's not politics. That's not politics. That's not Wall Street. That's economics.
And that's what you said. Perfect example with COVID, right? Everything shut down. Nobody was buying, nobody's spending, and that's when we saw the rates come down.
Yep.
Right? So
100%.
everything went into the crapper, and that's how you get cheap mortgage rates.
So the only way to really incentivize the whole system would be to have another COVID. Oh, God help me.
No. Good God,
just as a side note, I heard on the on News Nation this morning that there's an outbreak of tuberculosis in Kansas, and it is their largest outbreak of like 80 cases in
How did that happen? I thought TB was like, that wasn't a thing.
No, I mean it's treatable. This is the thing; it's treatable, but
I know,
but like 5 people have already died from it, and all the things. They have snow in Louisiana; anything could happen.
I mean, it's.
I'm not kidding.
The world is ending, Jen. The world's ending.
You know what? We're gonna be, as the world's ending, we're gonna be on this live stream. We're gonna be with you guys. We're gonna be all in this together.
Yep.
And San Diego is sunny and cold. We are wearing our winter shorts.
At least you're in shorts.
Yeah,
God.
bah humbug. Cousin says that doesn't explain a second mortgage for eggs. Amen. 100%. Yeah. I sent my kid to the store and to buy. I'm like, on your way home from work, can you pick up some eggs? Because I was going to make some breakfast the next, Sunday and whatever. And I'm like, tell me how much it is. I'll give you the money. And she got home and she was like, it's $20. I'm like, I told you to get 2 dozen eggs. Yep. I'm like, I need to see the receipt. It was like $18. It was like $7, $8. That's how much. It's crazy.
Today, I just bought Stu Leonard's. I just paid $4.99 for a dozen eggs.
Well, it's coming down. It has to do with it's all the it was like I don't know what it was, like a bird disease, chicken flu. I don't know. What
Avian flu, and apparently they had to slaughter like 100 million chickens. That's why there's a shortage. You see,
poor chickens.
I know those poor things, but now that's why the price of eggs are going up, because there aren't enough eggs to. Just like the housing market, Jen.
Isn't that interesting how that works? Prices. You see how it's just like Cabbage Patch Kids, just like houses. Now it's eggs.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Isn't that funny?
I get this pen. There's going to be a pen shortage. Jackie, I'll sell you this pen for $49.95 because it's going to be the last one ever. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. 18 extra large eggs at $14.89. I think it's time to get protein from somewhere else.
Yes, time
to do vegan protein. Clark says there's been a lot of people wearing masks here again, down here, praying for no outbreak. That's down in Atlanta, huh? No. Well, there's another illness or something that's like not COVID but similar, and
RSV. Isn't it? It's a RSV virus.
I've lost track. Is that what that is? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's RSV. It's like the trifecta: RSV, flu, and COVID. That's
you know what? I just don't go. I just don't leave the house.
Yeah, well,
I'm just leave it out in the porch. I don't have to worry. Go drive through everywhere. Yep. No, that's not the reason. Buddy. That's not the reason.
You do need to get out more, though.
I know I do. That's another live stream for another day. That's another live stream for another day. So as we're wrapping up here, Miss Jackie Bell.
Hey,
you know what?
Who's that?
I don't know. Some lady.
That?
Jackie Baker in the house. Daily dose of real estate reality. Check out her channel. She's got some pretty hot content.
You
got to check her out. North Jersey for those watching. And and if anyone is interested in south of Boston, down towards Cape Cod, Plymouth, that's where I'm at. Or if you need a referral to anywhere in the country, I have an extensive network after 28 years in this industry.
Ooh.
Jackie, I got my real estate license when I was 5 years old. Do you know that?
Really? I didn't
5 years old.
License you at 5 years old. That's pretty
That's
amazing,
true.
Kat.
I just had my eyelashes.
Oh,
It's,
love it.
just like, come on, let's go buy a house.
I bet you're an excellent agent back then.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, everybody's got their bumps and bruises, and now I feel like I'm 100 years old, but that's okay.
That's all right.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. But
All right.
Jackie, I appreciate you being
Ben,
here. It's
I
always
appreciate being here.
super
Thank you for
fun,
having me.
super it's a
Yes.
good conversation, and
Absolutely.
we're just gonna have to just watch to see how this thing how this thing.
It's going to be as the housing market
Oh,
turns.
you know
That's
what?
what
I got I just almost forgot. I got a poll here, real quick. I'm gonna end my
Oh.
poll. So I did. Do you think Trump's plan will make housing more affordable? 13% voted yes. 45% said no. 42% said, I have no idea.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go. Only time will tell.
Well, we're a weekend, so we'll give it some time. Give it some
Yes.
time. But hey, everybody, be good, be kind. Check in on your neighbor if you're someplace cold. Stay safe if you're in California, and
Yes.
look both ways before you cross the street and all the things. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday. Same bat channel, same bat time. See you, everybody.
See ya.